So I want you to stop throwing away the best part of your dinner. Most people think a pan sauce is just adding wine and butter at the end, but it isn't. That's why your sauce is usually thin, greasy, broken, or tastes like cheap winey vinegar. Now, I spent over 20 years in Michelin kitchens, and the biggest difference between a home cook and a chef isn't just the ingredients, it's also what you're washing down the sink. So today I'm going to show you the 4 laws of pan sauce that turn kitchen waste into liquid gold. Once you see this, you will never wash a roasting pan again, because with a few simple shifts you can turn what you normally throw away into something rich, glossy, or even one step further, my liquid gold made from waste. And once you understand how it really works, pan sauces don't just improve your food, they literally make themselves. But first, we need to understand the pitfalls, so success becomes inevitable. A pan sauce doesn't start when you add wine, it starts the moment the food hits your pan. Every time you see a meat or seafood or vegetables or fish, you create those golden stuck-on bits at the bottom of a pan. In chef language, the fond. And that fond is everything. It's the heart and soul of flavor. It exists because of Maillard reaction, the same process that makes a steak taste like a steak. So here's your first shift in thinking. Next time you cook, don't wash the fond away. Save it. Deglaze it with a bit of water or wine, scrape it up, freeze it, and then suddenly you have the base for something far deeper than any stock cube. It starts with law 1, your pan. This isn't just about what you have in your cupboard, it's about physics. You need a surface that is reactive and heat retentive. Stainless steel is best because it encourages the food to stick just enough to create the amazing fond. But it's law 3 that will actually fully capture it, and if you skip that step, the rest of this doesn't matter. Cast iron, good, if it's well seasoned, but be careful, it still can react with acids like wine, lemon, or mushrooms and herbs. Non-stick is the enemy here. If it doesn't stick, you have no flavor profile. Now, here's where most people go wrong. Law 2, the fat. People use cheap vegetable oil for cooking, but I use butter for chemistry. Butter isn't just fat, it's an emulsion of fat, water, and milk solids. Now, when your meat hits that foaming hot butter, the proteins don't just sear, they begin a relationship with the fat. This is why oil-based sauces feel a bit greasy. They lack this sort of molecular handshake. But butter provides to meat juices. Butter isn't just fat, it's an emulsifier in waiting. Vegetable oil is just a barrier. Do you want to use olive oil? Well, it has a sharp and bitter profile, perfect for Mediterranean flavors, but unpleasant in a classic French-style pan sauce. Already, you can see this isn't about recipes, it's about decisions, and those decisions start right here, long before the sauce even exists. So, let's cook. Stainless steel pan, butter goes in, heat gently. This allows the butter to clarify and stops it from burning. It foams, it turns slightly brown. That's your moment. In goes the meat, turn it often. Not because it's trendy, but because it controls heat penetration. Otherwise, dry, overcooked exterior, cold and raw interior. Add aromatics if you like, but you need to remove them later. But focus on heat, because this is where things quietly go wrong. Too much heat, burnt fond, burnt butter. And then your sauce is bitter before you even started. So, this is where most sauces quietly fail. Lower the heat, keep space in the pan, control your hotspots. If the butter burns, discard and replace it. If the fond is near burning, save it. Remove the meat, splash of water, wash it out, set aside. Then butter, heat the pan again, and continue cooking your steak. Then you have 2 fonds for your sauce. Another possible disaster? Salt. This one catches people out. You salt too late, it sits in a pan, it mixes with the escaping meat juices, and suddenly your sauce is a bit salty. And this, again, is another place where things go wrong. It's the little decisions. Now, your meat is cooked and half rested. You set it aside, and now, finally, we build a sauce. Butter, chopped shallots, 1 minute. You see the fond begins to lift. That's your signal. That's the flavor you saved earlier. Red wine, a touch of port wine. And there is law 3, the deglaze. Most people splash in wine and then they move on. We go au sec, literally until dry. We are boiling away the harsh, volatile alcohols and leave behind only the sugars and the refined acids. If you see a trail behind your spoon, you have captured the soul of the wine without the bite and the yeast. And this is the foundation of balance. When you reduce, don't overdo it. Wine contains sugar. You push it too far, and it burns. This step is everything. You are concentrating acids and sugars, building a deep deglazing structure. Now, water and stock, which brings us to law 4. The structure. Now, a sauce needs a skeleton. In professional kitchens, we use long simmered stock full of natural collagen. At home, you can shortcut that. You can replicate that with 1 or 2 sheets of gelatin, and that gives it a lip-smacking texture. And beurremanie, that I'll show you in a second. Those 2 with the butter will provide the grip. Without law 4, you don't have a sauce. You just have a sort of an unbalanced flavored water. So add gelatin, 1 sheet per serve, for depth and sticky texture. A dash of Worcestershire sauce to spice things up. And here is where most sauces collapse. Because right now, technically, perfect, but still thin, still sharp. Chefs tell you, just whisk and butter. But it's not enough. It's still too thin. It won't cling, it won't coat, it won't satisfy. So we fix it properly. Beurremanie, equal parts of butter and flour. Mix. Add a little, boil, let the starch expand fully. If you only reduce, you concentrate the salt and acids until it's almost inedible. A touch of cream and beurremanie and gelatin gives you body without the acid and salt bump. Now look at that. If it needs more, add more. Dissolve and boil again. That's what we're after. Glossy structure, coating. Now, it behaves like a real sauce. Now, it actually holds on to the food. And then you taste it. And if it feels a little bit disjointed because the wines are too sharp, fix it with a touch of cream. Not to make it creamy, but to cover up mistakes and bring the flavors together. Then reduce it again. Then finish, pepper, thyme, salt, and off the heat. Cold butter, because cold butter emulsifies better. And the resting juices, you add too. And now you have a proper, sticky, balanced pansauce. And at this point, you are no longer just following steps, you are making decisions. So, what could go wrong? You added too much beurremanie, and your sauce is now too thick. Easy. Turn off the heat. Add some water, but don't boil again. You don't want those starch molecules going again. Too thin? you just reduce it. If it's broken or split, you have reduced it too far. So that's easy. Add some water, bring it to a boil, stir until it comes back together. What you need is 3 to 4 tablespoons per serve. A proper sauce should be creamy, glossy, emulsified, not watery, not greasy. Now that you understand the laws, you can apply them to anything. Let me show you how this same logic creates 3 completely different results. First, the creamy pansauce. Peeled and deveined prawns, cold pan, butter, 1 minute on one side, then 1 minute on the other. Remove. Look at that fond, pure flavor. Again, this is where the sauce really begins. A bit more butter, garlic, shallots, carrots, celery, thyme. White wine, cocoa sec, cream, reduce. Prawns back in, same system, different outcome. Or, not a sauce at all, a vinaigrette utilizing the powerful. A duck breast into a pan, you render it until it's crisp for 8 to 10 minutes. You turn it, remove the fat, you add some walnuts, shallots, garlic, thyme, cook for 30 seconds longer, rest for 10 minutes, remove the duck and deglaze with balsamic vinegar. Then into a bowl, walnut oil, which sort of has most of its flavor muted due to the lack of its acidity. It needs balance. I need to add a sharp, bitter and sour oil. Olive oil is the perfect match. Salt, pepper, raspberries and parsley. Same principle. The fond carries the flavor, different expression. Or pan-fried scallops. Fond, white wine, shallot or sec, tomatoes, olives, capers, with lemon juice and herbs. A sort of sauce vierge, but elevated by the fond. And now, my secret. Every time I roast the chicken, I freeze the bones. Next time I roast the chicken, I take him out of the freezer and make a gravy from something that otherwise would be waste. I chop him up, butter in a pot. I roast the bones. I use a bit more butter. It's good for frying. The bones, they're already cooked, so you find they don't brown that well. Instead, it's all happening on the bottom of the pot. Then I deglaze with water or Madeira wine. Again, and again. I build a lot of color. Then I add the onions, garlic, carrots, celery, thyme, lots of mushroom stalks for extra glutamate, tomato paste, balsamic vinegar for acidity and color, water, gelatin again for depth and texture, Worcestershire sauce, so it gives it a good punch, and soy sauce for color and umami. I place the recipe in the link below. Now look at that color. Simmer till the roast chicken is almost ready. Then rest the chicken and go for the final move. Take the fond in the pan from the roast chicken. This is everything we have been building towards. Strain the gravy over, a splash of water back onto the bones and wash off all the sticky flavors. That's going too. Then strain again, reduce, salt, pepper, thicken with beurremanie till it's perfect, butter, and that's your perfect gravy. And what you have is something built entirely from what most people throw away. The very thing we started with. So next time you cook, don't just follow a recipe, pay attention, because the difference between it's fine and something that's truly memorable is often sitting in the bottom of your pan. The very thing that most people throw away. I call it culinary capital, and once you see it, you realize it was never complicated. You just needed to understand what was already there. So check out my video on tasting, and I'll see you next time.